Into no drama, she ain't into no falling, no drama. Bullets to the brain, bullets to the face, she gon' into the trap. Bullets levitate, she gon' into the trap.
Hello YouTube, it's been a while. Today we're going to be talking about the Faro Concepts Plate Carrier V5. With the release of the V6 on the way, or rumored to be, I decided I'd make a video on the previous carrier, as well as talking about its previous variations and stuff like that. If you've ever been around the gear world long enough, you've probably heard a joke about how all plate carriers lead back to the Paraclete Sofix. For those outside to know, the Paraclete Sofix was a plate carrier that was issued during the early years of GWAT, the CAD, any sort of group like that. It was a carrier was awfully generic in its design, but it was the foundation for a lot of carriers that came out, such as the Eagle MAC and the LBT 6094. While the Eagle MAC hasn't changed much, the LBT 6094 has gone through a few different carriers. They've changed things up a little bit, and nothing's really sat since the LBT 6094. You know, you've seen other countries, like other dudes buy the carriers and use them, but you've never seen them issued in mass anymore since, you know, the 6094 days. Now, LBT does have their latest carrier being the G6, which in my opinion doesn't feel like a true evolution of the 6094. I would actually argue the FCPC series is actually a true evolution of the 6094, especially when you look back at their older carriers. Faro Concepts doesn't want you to know this, but they started out making 6094 clones in AR1, AR2, and you'll see that in the FCPC V2, V3, V4. You'll see how it slowly scaled from that original 6094 clone to this carrier today. And I feel that's a really interesting and different take on how it evolved instead of how LBT has done it. Now, I don't think this is a bad thing. It just generally shows a good understanding of the flaws of 694 and the design decisions to improve it. It also shows how the carrier would evolve with material evolution in Gear 2, like, you know, laser cuts, stuff like that. Their carrier evolved with that as well, you know, like G-Huts initially, then went to Cobra buckles, stuff like that. So I think that's pretty neat. The Faro Concepts Plate Carrier V5 is probably one of the most polarizing carriers I've ever owned. Ever since its creation, it's received either praise or complete damnation. And I mean that literally. I know some people will lie about the trope, but I've never seen a middle-of-the-road opinion on this carrier. Today I'm going to talk about it and see if it's worth the hype or the hate. Like my last video, we're going to talk about the setup first and how I run it before we start talking about the actual features of the carrier. So for my front, I am running a Juggernaut case with a Samsung, Edge Cover Pro Sets. I got this for a nice deal. I bought it with some Eagle chest rig, and it was like $200 or something. So that's the reason why I run this. I don't run this phone for any particular reason, you know. It also is kind of a huge phone. I don't know if you've ever seen the size of this, but this thing is not small at all. It's mostly because of the case, though. This has the operator case on it, which is their highest end model case as of right now. Only a few phones have it. So then, if you go down, I have a Faro placard right here. It's their Molly placard, mainly because I really like Molly. I know I talked about it in my previous video of the Eagle RRV, but I really think Molly is a great solution because when you buy it, you can really run it between everything. And if you're someone like me who owns a lot of carriers, a lot of chest rigs, you kind of really value that instead of being stuck in ecosystems. So the mats I'll usually go into an ecosystem is their placard. Usually most of the time I'm running a different cummerbund. As you can see right here, I'm running the Shaw Art cummerbund, which I'll talk a little bit more about that later why I'm running that. So I have a Tatsuo Taylor triple mat pouch. I like these. I really like flapped mat pouches. It's kind of my biggest preference, especially for carriers, as you can see here as well. Usually on belts, I'm running, you know, more open top mat pouches because I want that to be quick access. My mentality is that plate carriers tend to be for admin reloads most of the time, and belts are for quick reloads, you know. So you gotta quickly do, you know, hey, die right there. I'm out of ammo. Drop my mat here. I'll get them right. But I'm not completely free of not having them on here. I have one hidden right here. This should also hold a Motorola radio if I ever get one, or that DM32 that, you know, Baofeng makes. It's essentially just an APX clone. Now, past that, I have my Radiocom setup. I was originally running Invisio on this, but because I prefer having contacts instead of the X5s or X50s I had in my earbuds, and I don't want to buy some T7s or T5s. So I've moved to Peltor with some contacts for my helmet. And I'm using the Axle kit again, which is nice. I think it's really great for offsetting your PTTs and stuff on kits. One thing I do not like about it, though, is that depending on where you run it, and if you're running a Juggernaut case too, you'll see here that it's not fully mounted because right here is the kit. And if I run it any higher, this won't be able to be fully mounted, which I think was actually the reason that caused my phone to get a little bit of a crack. Now below my panel setup and my comm setup, I have this Spiritus lunchbox here. So the reason why I have this is because I'm usually running an Eagle fanny pack, and this will hold my phone or wallet or keys to my car, stuff like that. Or if I need to put something else in here, I can. But if I want to be able to carry something like on the fly and have like not be taking up a lot of space, I usually have this. Just, this can fold out to be pretty big for those who are unaware. You can fit even gas masks in here if you want to. Not that I recommend that, but see, it folds out to be pretty large. It goes completely over my abdomen panel right there. So I think it's neat, and plus it folds up really nicely. Now below that, we have my Shaw abdomen right here, and I'm running 3 Banyer panels on it from Eagle. It's to hold these in here, and it's kind of like a quick access thing. Let me get this out real quick. I use this in mostly like when I'm assaulting. If I'm not really running like an assault with grenades, I won't be usually running this most of the time. But it'll sit right here, and when I need a grenade, pull, grenade comes out, and I'm ready to go. So that's how that's being ran. Now we're going to be moving to my cummerbund here. Here I have 2 M4 pouches. Now these are usually running mads, but they can also run a water bottle too, which is kind of why I like running flat pouches, because they're really versatile. If I need to put a water bottle in here or anything like that, it's great. On the back here, behind these two, I'm running a NAR IFAC. So you can see here, has a TQ in here, some gauze, really simple stuff. Then on the other side, I am running, moving this around is a little difficult. I'm running this GP here, which has some batteries for quick access batteries, and then I have a spare radio battery here too. And now on the back, this is subject to be replaced. We have my pouch holding my my tablet, my Android tablet right here. I use this for ATAC and stuff when I'm trying to talk in a group or anything like that. Really useful. This pouch is subject to change. I mean, I could really run anything in here because again, it's not a small pouch if it can fit a whole tablet in here. It's pretty big pouch. I could also run nods in here if I wanted to with like a padded insert, or I could swap it out for a dedicated nods pouch. Which leads us to just the back of the carrier. Now, contrary to how many people run their kit, this is slick. Because usually most of the time I'm not really running in a group, and I kind of want to have everything to be easily accessed. So this is slick. And back here I have a Ferro Concepts med roll, but it's not holding medical equipment. It's actually holding a Orc windbreaker. So it adds this like a little bit of lumbar support because it is soft, but it's also just a nice way to hold a jacket on me at all times, as opposed to the Cry half jacket, how it's held. It's kind of a little bigger if you've ever seen it. So that's how that's being held. But I do have some other alternative configurations in which I run it. Say I want to carry Hydro on me, I toss a GP on the back, and I route my Hydro through here and route it up here. That's usually how I run my Hydro. It's how I've always done it. I prefer it, especially to like dedicated pouches that take up a lot of space. With this, I can still have it here and run a whole thing of bangers or M4 pouches, whatever have you. Now here, this is actually a bit of older Ferro kit. This is I think it's their V4 bad panel right here. It's one of their older bad panels. I got it off a buddy a long time ago. This can also support Hydro right here. Really neat. And it has room for bangers or whatever have you. So you can see here. Although I don't really like this flap design a lot. They definitely did improve it with their V5. Which kind of ties into what I was talking about earlier. as you can see how it's a constant iteration and improvement. If you look at this and compare it to the more recent Faro Concepts back panel, they're going to look very similar. And it's because this is just it's just an improvement of this, you know. So they're very consistent and always improving their gear, which is something I do like about it, even if I don't agree with all the choices they make in their decision making. Anyway, I have a GP back here too. This would not be holding water. This would be holding whatever I need it to. So, alternative setups. Plus, also, I have 2 tier tactical side armor little panels here. You know, I like side armor. What can I say? So I run that on the current button too, but I'm not running that right now. So that's just some alternative configurations and how I run the kit. All right, so future me here. I actually forgot to clarify this here. For those who are curious if I'm just running just a blowout pouch on here, that is not the case at all. This is ran in conjunction with this very heavy belt setup, and I have an IFAC right here. So just for those who are curious, this is what I was talking about with those quick access mad pouches. Now I'm gonna go ahead and strip this down, and we're gonna talk about the plate carrier more so itself. All right, so I've gone ahead and I've stripped down this carrier to its bare essentials. For the most part, I don't feel like taking this off or this off. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I'm going to start talking about the features of the carrier, what I don't like about it, and what I do like about it. So, we're starting off with a little bit of modification I did. If you run swimwear plates, you're going to want to do this. It's some 550 cord that's routed through the sides here. So, I'm going to bring it a little closer to the show. There, you can see that right there. I have that set up. So, okay, so this is how this is set up here. This is from the previous owner. I assume they would put a PTT through here. I personally wouldn't. Again, I always kind of prefer the Ansel kit. That leads us to the back of the front plate badge, which kind of brings up one of my first things I kind of don't like about it, and that is this here. Let me take out this plate real quick. See, sword plate. I don't like this Velcro design that they have here. Well, I get that you'd want to, like, I don't know. I feel it's really weird to put the stretch in the middle of the carrier. And even then, this really is not that stretchy, too. So, can't say I'm the big fan of that. I would have much preferred the stretch to be on the sides. There's also this little bit of stretch here, which really doesn't do anything. And then the center Velcro mount here. I don't like this. I really think it should have been all across, or should have been to the sides, like here or here. I'm not a big fan of it. It always feels like, whenever I'm putting stuff in, it always feels like it's going to fall out, even if though it hasn't. It hasn't at all, so I want to give them credit for that, but I'm not a big fan of that. And that applies to the back plate pad too. We also have a front admin here, which is very small. It's very similar to what, like, I would say, like a JPC, you know? Very similar to a JPC. It doesn't really fit stuff super well. See, I got a right in the rain here. Now, if I put it in there sideways, I would fit a pin and a right in the rainy here. But I would rather just get an admin pouch, or put it on my belt, or any other GP. So it's kind of like the JPC admin, where you have it, but nobody ever uses it. So now, something I do like is there a very subtle way to mount pouches, which is this little tab right here. I think that's great. It really keeps a nice slick front, especially if you're using their little pouches or little front panels which have G-hooks. I think that's great. You can also mount stuff externally here on these two upper little Velcro things too, if you have different fitting mat pouches. Below here, we have some Molly, you know, pretty standard laser cut, nothing too crazy. Now, when we move past that, we get to probably one of the most annoying features on this carrier, and it's their use of Cobra buckles. I don't really like the Cobra buckles. I would prefer ITW buckles or G-hooks or anything like that, which you can mount, and I think that's great. And then you have kind of like a ring here on this side, which is how they run it. And the way you adjust your straps is, they have two ways. You adjust it via the Velcro under here too, but you also adjust it here on the front. And I don't like this at all. I think this is like, it's really uncomfortable, first off, especially when you're putting your hand in here, because you're going to rub your hands against all this stuff, which it doesn't feel great. It irritates me personally. So that's mostly like a personal gripe. And there's also just not a lot of adjustment on here. You really only get like maybe 1 or 2 slots of adjustment. So if you're really having to run it tight, you're going to be screwed, because you're not going to get a lot out of it from there. Here's that back part, and you kind of see what I'm talking about here with how that Velcro kind of just like does that. I'm sure it's better with Sappies, but again, if you're running swimmers, you're going to have this like Velcro flap always constantly out, and it doesn't really feel that secure. As you can see back here, they have their zipper system, which of course, if you have a V5, it's not going to work with your V6, because Spiritus, Cry, and Faro have all combined together to make a new system for their zippers, because it's demanded by Silicon. So I don't know. Not even Spiritus LV119 zippers work with LV120s. So yay, no backwards compatibility. So outside of that, the back is really slick, all things considered. It's probably one of the nicer looking back plate beds. Although something I don't like is this here. You lose an entire row of molly. So if you're ever mounting anything, it has to be mounted like 1 higher. So I don't know. I personally don't like it. I would rather be able to mount stuff as low as I can, especially if I'm trying to like have things more spaced out, or I want something to be sitting lower. You know, it's either that or you have it hanging off by 1 row, which sucks. Now, bad plate bag isn't anything to write home about, but this is something I'm appreciative of. Velcro is nice. Everyone always appreciates a little bit of Velcro on the bad plate bag. Even then, I usually run, like I said, Shaw cummerbunds, which have adapters here. So I run it like that, which is nice. Now, something I don't like is Faro's own cummerbund. I don't like the 2-band design, and I don't like the fact that it's Velcro with elastic connected to it, because I've heard from some people where it doesn't really move at all properly. What it'll do is it'll go forward and then it'll just get stuck there and won't go back in. So that sounds pretty annoying. So, and also the thing is too, when you think about it, elastic cummerbunds are definitely better, because you can always replace shock cord. But if it's like Velcro attached with some sort of elastic and you can't swap anything out, once that cummerbund gets used and stretched out, it's going to slowly become even stretchier, and you have to mount it even closer and closer and closer until it's basically has no stretch left. So I like the ability to have replaceable shock cord, because that extends the longevity of your cummerbund as well as your gear. I think that's how it always should be. You can also adjust it to your preferred tightness. So outside of that, the only other thing I would complain about is that I feel like the shoulder straps should have more Velcro going through. I feel like they should be able to get a little tighter, or it should be a little shorter. These straps are really long. I've had people who also own these and I'm friends with be like, whoa, the straps are really long on these. So I would say with the FCPC, it is a very nice, simple carrier at the end of it. Personally, I think the plate bag is great. I would recommend a different cummerbund, and it has a good ecosystem, albeit expensive. Although, used market exists, so that doesn't really matter, right? Just buy it used, which is what I did with this. Considering the cost of carriers these days and the used market becoming bigger and bigger, these should be accessible at a lower cost, especially once the V6 comes out. You're going to see a lot of these being dumped, just like how it was with the LV119. I'm going to get a quick price check on that V5 real quick. Yeah, it carries about $274 retail right now, so which is more than a JPC. Alright guys, that's pretty much the end of the video, but I'm going to have some closing thoughts real quick about this carrier. I think it's a really great carrier at the end of the day. I know it's been very polarizing, but if you really look past all the hate or the Faro hate or anything like that and try to look at it from an unbiased point of view, you're going to see that you have a really nice base carrier. Now the ecosystem, that's debatable. I personally wouldn't want to run their ecosystem, but that's just me personally, because I usually run Molly and stuff like that. I prefer having that modularity of true Molly instead of like, oh, I was back panel, I can zip it off zip, So I think that's great. If you're looking for a nice laser cut carrier at like a reasonable price point, I would say this is great. I would recommend running a different cummerbund. I don't like Tor buckle, so again, I run the ITW buckle. Anything like that would be great. But if you really like cover bottles, shoot, get 2 of them if you want, you know. It really is whatever your personal preference is. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching this long. I really appreciate it if you've made it this far. I'm really glad to be back to making content and making videos. Hopefully, I'm going to be trying doing this more regularly moving forward. Again, I'm not promising anything, but I have a lot of gear, which I'll show right here. Just some pictures of how much gear I own. This was actually originally going to be on the Eagle Aerial, but I have 2 variants. I'm still missing 2 more variants. So I want to get all 4 of them, or, well, technically there's 5 if you think about it. I want to get all 5 of them together and have a more comprehensive video instead of just, oh, hey, here's one carrier. Hey, here's one carrier. If I actually had the V4, V3, V2, and V1, I would have actually made a video having all of them coming up, because I think that would have been a really nice retrospective as we lead up to the FCPC V6. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.